morning, guys. We are hopefully, that's a stretch. Probably won't get done the week today. We will be, I'm guessing we'll probably only have like 3 or 4 hours left for tomorrow. So I'm filling a bin. It's a lovely day. Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. So we don't have the bin full alarms, like the spout sensor yet. That's a next year project. Hey guys, we have very suddenly an absolutely gorgeous evening. Not 8 minutes ago, the wind was howling through here. Like this afternoon, we moved, so we finished, I shouldn't do that. We finished off with the wheat this afternoon, I want to say around 3:30ish, 3 o'clock. And when we went to move, I took this truck from here, well, I'll get to that in a second, and moved it to our dad's first canola field, because we actually started in mine a little bit. Now, right as I got there, it's like all of a sudden there's a little bit of wind going. Like, where's that been all day? And in a matter of 10 minutes, all of a sudden it's like 40 mile an hour and just gusting, and it's changing this direction, that direction. So, yeah, supper sucked. Supper was great. It's always tasty. Mom's an awesome cook. But it was just howling wind. So anyways, I figured I better do an update because we're done the wheat. Overall, pretty good yield. The stuff along the hills didn't yield quite as, like up north there, didn't yield quite as well as down south. There was another 1.5 inches of rain difference between the two, but even the Durham over there, so if you go on the other side of those trees and then you keep going, can't really see, another half mile was my big field of Durham, and it did really well. And Dad's got some that was just not about a mile that way, and it didn't do that well. And we figured it was just one rain at the right time. Mine out there did. I have another field over there. It had a lot of weed pressure. I didn't expect it to do great. It actually ended up, the main field did better than I expected, but the other two were, so it's in 3 little sections. The other 2 were worse than I expected, so it averaged out. So we finished up along the hills. We had plans to go south, but we figured why would we waste a move in the middle of the day? Now, I do have a little bit of time, not a ton, but I wanted to get a good shot of the clouds and the sunset and everything, just for you guys. So we're gonna talk about what we've had going on over the last week. This guy has actually given us a couple of problems. Well, I was wrong, and that's a good thing. I thought I had a few minutes. Dad's waiting for me. So that means the yield's picked up. This stuff over here, you can't really see it from here. It's kind of sandy, gravelly. There's a lot of construction material from when they built these batteries, and it got scattered out there and the soil got turned over. So I thought I had a few more minutes. This ran pretty good actually. It's just that I didn't realize we were out of it. So yeah, some really good potential if this pattern stays true. So what was I going to, I was actually going to say, this guy, I remembered the other thing that went wrong is that, well, the first thing that went wrong is there's a sock that connects the intercooler lines. One of them just blew off when I was running down the road there. I was empty.
I'm going to get that muley yet tonight. He jumped right up in front of me a couple of rounds ago and moved over, and he just jumped up about 10 feet in front of me again.
So we got a handful of mule deer out in the canola. But yeah, I blew this little sleeve off.
Not leaving the canola?
When my uncle's a hunter.
Certainly not. He bedded down about 3 swipes over now.
Yeah. So yeah, they're chatting about him. And it's a decent looking mule deer.
I thought that was what I was going to see over here, but I just pushed out 5 raccoons.
Oh, that's not good. Good thing we're not putting a bag here. What was I saying? So blew that sock or sleeve up when I was going uphill, but I was empty and it wasn't a huge hill. Just made a hell of a pop, and then you could hear some, like, a lot of air getting blown around, and I was noticing I was lacking power. I kind of radioed for Dad. Yeah, something's not right here. Just thought I'd let you know. And I got out, and I had a sneaking suspicion it was going to be something like that. And I opened up and went over to that side, and it's like, oh, obviously it's that. So put a glove on, slip it back on. But we couldn't find the clamp. The clamp blew off somewhere, so we had to go get some hose clamps. We're only 2.5 miles away from the farm. It wasn't a big deal. But, and then, so last night, what should have been probably, well, we had planned on going a little later, but I was coming back empty, and I just got to the point where I was turning onto the road, and all of a sudden I had like a red stop engine light, and, stop engine immediately. Ooh, that's not good. So I actually whipped back around. I ran the engine for about 2 minutes just to get somewhere safe, and I shut it off. I let it go down, and then I cycled it again. Are you done, Dad? Yeah. I cycled the key because I wanted to see what it would say for a code or a warning, and it said low coolant. Well, okay. Well, sorry, the first thing I did when I saw that is I looked at all the gauges and I still had good oil pressure, good temperature, everything like that. Okay, well, I'm not in that bad a shape. So then I did my little 2-minute lap, and I got back to my brother's shop. And then, once I saw it said low coolant, well, let's go see if the coolant actually is low. Pop the hood, and the engine's covered in antifreeze, and you can smell it. And didn't see it really much in the dark, but I noticed there was a couple of wet, spongy hoses. And so we decided to haul the bagger up today and just finish off with the bagger. And it always seems like we have stuff go wrong on the long weekend. So like last Monday we had that spline shaft go, or the bearing go, and we put it back together how we thought it should have been according to what it looked like when we took it off. Unfortunately, that caused us to wreck a few other things in the meantime. Not other things, it's just more of the same. That so we ended up having to do the whole assembly, and I was bitchy, pissy, dirty, grumpy, whatnot. But yeah, we would end. Ooh, that was a shot of lightning. I wouldn't have thought that came out of those clouds. They don't look nasty enough. So there's a retaining collar on the back, or a retaining hub, that had slipped out of place, and we didn't notice that, and that was causing all of our issues with that other video I uploaded. And we didn't catch it. Ended up doing it again and causing more damage. Something didn't feel right when we put it back together. I should have investigated deeper. It's on me. It was an expensive fix. Live and learn. And then, actually, the 8230's been running good. The 8240's had the issues, but we're pretty sure it's fixed now. Seems to be. And then, so I got off topic a little bit, but I I got out in the morning and I was checking this out. The reason I got off topic there is, like I said, everything goes wrong on the long weekends. This is just another one. However, Brasses in town was open, which is fantastic. I was climbing around. Well, this morning I fired things up. So it was afternoon by the time I got to it. And let the engine warm up. Nothing was happening, and I revved her up just to build some, or I refilled the coolant first, and then I revved her up. I set the cruise at like 900 RPM, and then I go and look, and you can see it was dribbling out pretty good. Again, should have recorded it, didn't think to. And okay, shut her down, pulled off the one hose. I'm like, wow, that really doesn't feel right. Started feeling a couple other hoses, and I started looking around, and there was 2 or 3 splices or menders where there shouldn't have been. So my theory is that before Dad bought this, so he bought this last spring, so spring 2020, somebody had one of them comes from the heater core here, and I think the other goes to the defrost. They're just small 3/8 lines, and I think those 2 lines were rubbing, just kind of crossed like that, just based on where they put stuff, and it had wore through. And either it was somebody who didn't know any better and thought they were fixing it right with what they had, or somebody that did a quick fix just to get it off the road and then never did a follow-up. But literally their quick fix or their wrong fix would have been as much or more money, because they added like 2 or 3 extra menders that weren't necessary. And yeah, so that it would have been more money to fix it improperly than it would have been to fix it the right way. So I had to go into Brasses. They had heater hose, and the reason I know it was wrong is because I took 3/8 fuel line there, because that's all I had. And I'm like, if I have to run it for a day until something's open that I can get heater hose, I will. Luckily, Brasses was open and I didn't have to. So, but I stuck the 3/8 on just to double check it, and it sat very loose. Well, then there was a couple I tried pulling off, and they had like contact cement or some sort of high temperature silicone glue all gobbed up around it. So I ended up cutting out about 2.5 feet, no, it'd be more than that, almost 4 feet of hose that was patched all together, and I just did it with brand new heater hose. Because fuel line over the years was in high temperatures and with antifreeze, it'll swell, it'll get spongy, exactly like that felt. I say spongy, it literally feels squishy like a sponge. So I changed all that out. She's working like a top now. Well, let's take a look at a couple things kind of in the daylight. I'm going to try and do a night version too. This guy here came with, when Dad bought it, it came with some nice LED lights on the fairings there. Can't really see. They're good for backing up, but they're not the world. They're really good lights. They're just not really that useful for us. They definitely would have been handy as hell for pulling a trailer, but once you put the box on, it's a different story. So we bought it with, I think it's a 21-foot box, and it had the remote hoist, remote chute, and remote tarp, which is awesome. One of the first times we used the tarp, it quit working on us, and we ended up finding out that it had a bad connection, or I don't know. Dad found it. I was busy running around like a chicken with my head cut off that day. Other than that, it's been pretty good. I added a camera, a rear view, but it looks straight down. So you pretty much, you can line yourself up with, whether it's the conveyor or the hopper. It's really nice so that if you're only filling something once, you don't have to pace out your blocks, stuff like that. And I put lights on. I love LED lights. I put them on almost everything. I haven't put any on that yet. But I put one there for backing up. It's really nice to see where you're backing up, because a lot of you have the wood blocks there. Nice to see those at night when you're coming back. And it's really nice to see when you're running out. But I also put one just on the back side right here. And the reason I do that is so it lights up the inside of the box. I'll show you on the next load, but it's really handy. So I'm just running the hoist up. But it's really handy to see inside the box, especially if you're filling a bin at night or you have to walk away from something. It's awesome. I love it. As you can see, all the lights are